Hello guys, welcome to my channel, Full on Drama. Today I have brought you 4 Am I the Asshole stories. Story 1. Am I the asshole for not giving my husband my escape money when I saw that we were financially struggling? I, 34 female, have recently ran into a situation with my husband, 37 male, and am curious about if I am the asshole here or not. So me and my husband have been together for 8 years, married for 7. When I got married, my mother came to me privately and talked about setting aside money as a rainy day escape fund if worst came to worst. My husband has never showed any signs of being dangerous and rarely even gets upset, but the way my mother talked about it, it seemed like a no-brainer to have. When me and my husband got together, we agreed I would be a stay-at-home wife. We are both child-free, so that was never a concern. My husband made a comfortable mid-six-figure salary. All was good until about 2 years ago. He was injured at work in a near-fatal accident. Between hospital bills and a lawsuit that we lost that ate up nearly all of our savings, I took a part-time job while my husband was recovering. But when he fully recovered, we transitioned back into me being unemployed as my husband insisted that it was his role to provide. He currently is working 2 full-time jobs and Ubers on his off days to keep us afloat. Here is where I might be the asshole. I do all of the expense managing and have continued to put money into my escape account, although I significantly decreased from $750 a month to just $200 a month. My husband came home exhausted one night and asked about downsizing because the stress of work was going to kill him. I told him downsizing would not be an option as I had spent years making our house a home and offered to go back to work. He tried to be nice, but basically told me that me going back to work wouldn't make enough. After an argument, my husband went through our finances to see where we could cut back. He was confused when he saw that I had regular reoccurring withdrawals leading back years, and asked me about it. I broke down and revealed my money to him, which now sits at about $47,000. After I told him all this, he just broke down sobbing. His POV is I treated him like a predator and hid money from him for years even when he was at his lowest. I told him that the money was a precaution I would have taken with any partner and not specific to him. He left the house to stay with his brother and said I hurt him on every possible level. But my mom says this is exactly what the money is for and should bail now. So, am I the asshole? Story 2. Am I the asshole for wanting to leave my wife because she had a go bag? My wife and I have been together for 5 years now. We have a 2-year-old and we were planning to expand our family. I decided to tidy up my wife's closet because there was a mold problem in garage and I decided to inspect the whole house. There I found a gym bag with clothes, some dry fruits, some tampons, and like $1,000. I asked my wife about it and her face suddenly lost its color. At first she told me that it was just an emergency bag in case we are hit by earthquake or something. I asked her why did she hid it from me then. After a bit of back and forth, she sheepishly confessed that it's a go bag. Basically, women who need to flee their abusers are told to keep a go bag with all essential supplies like money and clothes and stuff. I asked her why exactly does she ever feel the need to do this. I have never even talked to her in loud voice. We barely have arguments. Why does she think that I am gonna become an abuser? She said she is not saying I am an abuser. She just wanted to do it for the peace of her mind. I don't buy her excuse. I don't think she trusts me. Otherwise, she wouldn't have to go so far. I took some days to mull it over and I have come to conclusion that I can't be with a woman who can't trust me and who see me as an abuser. I asked her for separation and told her that I can't be with a woman who does not trust me. I believe that trust is foundation of relationship and if she doesn't trust me then it's better we part ways. Now she is making excuses that she read to many mommy forums and let herself influenced by them. She showed me the forums where they discuss go bags and how every woman should have one. I get the logic, but I can't stay with a woman who does not trust me to know that she never needed to do such a thing. I agreed to take more time to think about it, but I think divorce will let her find a man she trusts not to be an abuser, because she does not trust me. So, am I the asshole? Story 3. Am I the asshole for divorcing my husband of 10 years for making out with sister when he was drunk? I, 35 female, have been married to my husband, Jackass, 38 male, for 10 years, together for 13. My sister, Dead Tome, 33 female, and I have always been pretty close until recently. More on this later. She is married to a wonderful man named Danny. About 6 months ago, Jackass and I were going through some marital issues regarding money. I work full-time as a nurse and he was working full-time as a laborer until he got laid off. I work PMs and have for about as long as we've been together. We have no children. So when Jackass got laid off, understandably he was upset and felt dejected. I constantly tried to reassure him and encourage him that he would find a new job. Around mid-November, he ended up getting a good-paying job and all seemed back to normal. He works days, I work nights, and it is stressful in that we couldn't see each other often, except on weekends. He started complaining about this, basically demanding that I change my shift. I can't do that because the hospital I work in needs me in there on nights because of my experience. It's crazy here in there every night. We had several arguments about him changing shifts at his new job, which was available, but he said no because his nights were for him to relax and play video games with his buddies. I said okay fine, then stop complaining that we hardly see each other. In one of our verbal fights, he said, I feel like I'm single and maybe I should just act like I am. I called my sister after that argument and cried on her shoulder. Usually, if we needed to talk, we turned to each other. Big mistake. Fast forward to a couple weeks ago, my sister called me crying and told me she had a confession and said, please don't hate me. She proceeded to tell me that one night when I was at work, she came over to my house and drank with my husband. Danny was also working nights. In between sobs, she finally gets it out that she and Jackass were laughing, drinking and playing cards when all of a sudden he kissed her. She said they kissed and made out for about 5 minutes and that was it. I basically told her to fuck off and hung up on her and went upstairs to confront Jackass. At first he said she was lying for attention, but I knew. Then he said that they were both so drunk that he gave her a couple pecks. I couldn't take his bullshit lying, so I told him to pack a bag and get the fuck out. I called a divorce lawyer and am in the process of filing for a legal separation. My sister and my dad want me to forgive and forget because it was a drunken mistake. My mom is completely on my side and is disgusted with them both. Danny has also left my sister and is divorcing her. Jackass keeps calling me, texting me, leaving messages begging for forgiveness saying, please don't throw away 13 years over a kiss. So, am I the asshole? Story 4. Am I the asshole for canceling our anniversary trip because my husband drowned my terrarium? I, 29 female, traveled across the country to visit a company regarding an incredible job offer. I spent 2 days touring the company to decide if it would be the right fit for me after years of self-employment. After meeting with the company, I visited my sister, 32 female, and her family a few towns over. We barely get to see each other because of work and distance, so it was wonderful to spend a few days with her, the family, and her new baby. I was gone for a total of 8 days. When I returned home, I was excited to spend time with my husband, 33 male, and tell him about the trip, my visit with my sister, my impression of the city, etc. We were meant to be celebrating our anniversary, and decided to put off the discussion about whether or not I should accept the job offer until after our anniversary getaway. I'd arranged for us to go on a luxury train ride because he's a big train enthusiast and we were meant to leave for the trip 3 days after I got home. This is when the problem started. I have a very large closed bioactive terrarium which I made with my mother 15 years ago. It's one of my favorite things I have of her from before she passed. This terrarium is my pride and joy, and has come with me everywhere since we planted it. It was always super healthy and beautiful, and I've only ever had to open it for times to do a little maintenance and watering. My husband knows all of this, which is why I don't understand why he decided to tamper with it in my absence. I didn't notice the night I got home because I was exhausted, but the next morning, I went to check on the terrarium to find it in a terrible state. The roots were rotting and the plants dying and molding. He told me that the day I left, he poured a few cups of water into the vessel and sealed it again. I was so mad I cried and it turned into a huge argument because it's just a plant and all you do is look at it anyway. He called me ungrateful and overdramatic, and that I should appreciate that his intention was to help me, and that he didn't ask because he didn't want to bother me on my trip. I ended up canceling our anniversary plans, partly because I was so upset that I didn't want to go, and partly because I wanted to try and salvage the plants and that would require time. He hit the roof when I told him and is now sleeping in a separate room and refusing to speak to me because, according to him, I'm being petty and trying to destroy our marriage. Am I being oversensitive about my plants? My friends are pretty evenly split and have pointed out that he was just trying to be thoughtful, however misguided it was. So, am I the asshole? Please like, share, and subscribe.